Hello, let's look at today's pre-class video. We're still working with fractions and mixed numbers, and our I can statement is, I understand and apply the relationships between fractions and mixed numbers and division expressions. So to review some of our vocabulary, we had the word fraction, a number that names a part of a whole or a part of a group. We have improper fraction, which we're going to take a look at today. An improper fraction is a fraction where the numerator is greater than the denominator. We have mixed numbers. A mixed number is a number, a whole number, and a fraction such as 2 3/4. We have unit fraction, and that's any fraction that has 1 as the numerator. We've discussed simplest form, and that's reducing a fraction by dividing to its lowest numbers possible. And today we're going to take a look at division expressions, an expression that contains only numbers and the division symbol. So make sure you have these notes in your notebook for later reference. So just to review, simplifying fractions. To simplify a fraction, we look at what our factors are for that number. So we have 1 and 24. We have 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and we'll run out of room, 4 and 6. So if we look at 48, we have 1 and 48. We have 2 and 24. 3 times, don't think 3 goes into 48. 4 times 12. And 6 times 8. So this is one way that you can identify the greatest common factor, or we can divide by 2. So if I divide by 2, I'm going to get 12 over 24. I can divide by 2 again, and I'm going to get 6 over 12. I can continue dividing by 2. So if you look at it, 2 and 2, that would be 4. Or I see that 6 is in both of these numbers. And that's going to give me 1/2. If we use the greatest common factor method, you can see I have 24 here and 24. So I could have gone 24 over 48 divided by 24 gives me 1/2. Whichever way is easiest for you to understand is the way that you can do this. Okay, if we look at our next slide, we're going to start writing fractions as division expressions. And if you remember when we were talking about just division and long division and division symbols, I had mentioned that fractions are a division problem. That the fraction bar means division. So when we look at this problem, 2 divided by 3, it's the same as 2/3. 2 divided by 3. And that's what we're showing here. So we have 2 pies that Amy is sharing with 3 of her friends. What fraction of the pie will each friend get? So if you see, we have the 2 pies, and I know my drawing's not the best. And then we have our 3 friends. They each are going to get 1 of the pieces, and then 1 of these pieces. So they each are going to get 2/3 of the pie. 2/3, 2 divided by 3, 2/3. So let's look at our next problem. Here we have 3 pies or cheesecakes being shared amongst 4 children. Each one of these circles down here is one of the children. So we cut each of our pies into 4 pieces, and then we start giving each person, each child, one of the pieces. So 3 divided by 4 is the same as 3/4, or 3 divided by 4. Let's look at Mr. Davis. He made 5 pancakes, and he's sharing them with his 4 children. So this situation, we have a larger number, 5 divided by 4 equals 5/4. This is called an improper fraction because the numerator is larger than the denominator. And what we can do is we can break that number down. So now we know 5 divided by 4 as a fraction, we're dividing it like this. How many groups of 4 can we make from 5? We have 1. We subtract. We have 1 left over, and that's 1. It's a part. So we write that as a fraction. So each person's going to get 5 1/4. So when we're simplifying improper fractions, we're writing them, and this is called a mixed number. So we're taking it from an improper fraction to a mixed number. Make sure you're taking notes. We'll be practicing this today in class. And make sure you ask any questions when you're confused. Okay, so rewrite the division expression as a mixed number. So we're going to start over here with 14 divided by 4. So we have 14 divided by 4. Well, as a fraction, it's 14 divided by 4. So we can simplify this in 2 ways. We can divide by 2 at this point, and then we're going to get 7 halves. And from 7 halves, we divide 7 by 2. 7 divided by 2 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 1/2. Or we can start with the 14 and divide it by 4. How many groups of 4 can we make from 14? 3. 3 times 4 is 12. And I have 2/4. Well, 2/4 is equivalent to 1/2. So I would have to simplify that. So I would have 3 2/4. I would divide the 2/4 by 2 over 2, which would give me 3 1/2. Okay, taking a look at our next one, we have 1 2/3. Now, we have to take 1 2/3 and make it an improper fraction. So if I draw the picture of 1 2/3, you see I have one whole, and it's made up of 3 parts, and then I have another, not a complete whole, but I have to draw another fraction bar and only shade in 2 of the parts. So that's going to equal 5/3. So this one whole is equal to 3/3. So it's like saying 3/3 plus 2/3 equals 5/3. Okay, make sure you're taking your notes for today's class. I know this can be a little confusing because it's new to you, but again, like what we've been doing, it just takes practice.